Hi, if you're feeling anxious, you've come to the right place. Welcome. I know what it feels like to feel anxious, so I've assembled many tips and tricks throughout my life to hopefully come not just to peace, but even bliss. Maybe you can feel like that at the end of this video too. How does that sound? Good. Well, you're allowed to be here. Welcome. I'm happy you're here and I'm happy to attend to you. I've assembled some of the best tips and tricks on this piece of paper here. So we'll be going through them together. We'll take you on a journey from the world to the body, emotions, mind, your intellect, your sense of self, and finally to your spirit. And we'll be validating each of them along the way. So, first of all, the world. Boy, it can be overwhelming sometimes. Unpredictable even. I've been there. I'm still there. It's okay that the world doesn't make sense. I think a lot of us make it seem like we know what the world is doing, how it's supposed to be. But the truth is, it's a weird place to be. If you think about anything too long, anything can become overwhelming. The good news is that regardless of what the nature of this whole universe is, you're allowed to be here now. You wouldn't be if you weren't meant to be. So know that you are a beautiful expression of this universe. I hope you know that. Now, let's go a little bit closer to ourself and focus on the body. Acknowledge the physical feelings that are a natural part of this experience. Sometimes the body might feel like there's danger even when there really isn't. So engaging the body in something that signals to it that it's okay, there's no tiger in the bushes, can be a great and practical step to feeling peaceful. For example, maybe you could get a glass of water or something light to eat. When our bodies long ago used to be jungle dwellers, eating and drinking, these are vulnerable times we take to ourselves. So in order to do that, we must ensure that we're not going to be stalked on by some predator. So when you are eating, that tells the body, this is a safe place to do so, to take care of yourself. You're allowed to be vulnerable here. You could also get somewhere cozy, comfy. If your clothing is too scratchy or itchy, if you're sitting on something that's too sharp or something solid, maybe you'd prefer something softer. Maybe you'd prefer an environment that is quieter, darker, to understimulate yourself. And if these things are not at your disposal, that's okay too. It's just one of the opportunities that might be available to you during this moment. We're going to be talking about many different tips and tricks, and if one of them doesn't work for you, that's okay. It doesn't mean that nothing's gonna work for you. I've assembled so many, not to overwhelm you, but just to try a little of everything out, and hopefully something sticks. I'm sure it will. And feel free to click off at any point. You're not expected to watch this video. There could be other videos out there that are better suited for your needs, and I promise I won't be offended. You're welcome to stay as long as you want or need. Now that the body is situated, you could also engage yourself in some activity. You could crochet if that's something you like to do, or maybe play with Lego, draw. Sometimes in feelings of fight or flight, the common theme between those two words is action, doing something. You don't have to, you're welcome to do nothing, but if that helps, sometimes it's nice to engage the body in some meaningful activity. Let's move on to our emotions too. Feel how you're feeling and know that that's valid. There are no wrong emotions. If you're feeling scared, anxious, maybe frustrated, or even something that you don't know how to label, that's totally valid. A lot of the times, it's not the emotions which overwhelm us, it's our own resistance to them, which is a funny thing. But fortunately, we can use this to our advantage here in calming down. If we invite the emotions in, we might be hesitant to do so because we might fear that it will only increase our discomfort. And for a moment, that may be true. We are allowing that discomfort. And then something magical happens. When we allow our feelings to be there, they almost lose their power over us. It's like a bully. If instead of fighting against the bully, we give them a hug. Of course, this takes courage and bravery, but once we do so, we invite them in, they can turn into our friends, and they change from being aggressive to passive. So if you can, and I know it sounds weird, try to relax into the feeling of anxiety. I know it sounds so weird. When I first heard that, I thought, no way. But what do I have to lose? I was already anxious. I might as well try something, anything. And it started to work slowly. You can expect yourself to improve gradually. If you want to be free from these feelings all of a sudden, then a better way to think about it is by the law of incremental growth. Notice how maybe this far into the video, your feelings have dropped this much. And then in a few minutes, they'll drop this much too. It's a process. Don't you worry. It takes time, and having patience for that will only benefit you. We can also observe how our feelings are related to our breathing. It's very typical that when you're feeling panicked, your breath rate is maybe faster. Fortunately, this works both ways too. And if we calm our breath, that can also calm ourselves as well and allow our feelings to become smoother, so to speak. So let's do a couple deep breaths together. It's okay if you're not able to match the perfect rhythm that I'm presenting. It doesn't have to match perfectly. Just keep smoothing, deepening your breath. Maybe try tummy breathing instead of chest breathing. Allow your tummy to fill up like a balloon. And on the exhale, no rush to get all that air out. Just relax and find that the air naturally escapes you. Like if you were to open the end of a balloon, you don't have to squish it out. It naturally starts exiting. And consistently doing this, you'll find that slowly you start to calm down. No rush. Now, from the emotions, let us move on to the mind. Observe the state of the mind. Sometimes it can be pretty chaotic. That's normal. The mind's job is to think, and sometimes it does that job a little too well, thinking about everything and anything. The good news is that it's still possible to be whole even when the mind is rampant. The mind could be wandering all over the place, but behind that, there is a kind of stillness. To use a metaphor, maybe you've been to a play and the actors and actresses could be engaged in a drama, but the stage, that's nice and still the whole time. Hopefully. Or if you're watching a movie, even when the movie is at its climax, the movie screen, that's still still. Still still. Similarly, our thoughts appear to us. And notice that sentence. Our thoughts appear to us. We are behind them, like the stage or the movie screen. We aren't technically our thoughts. We are the space we hold for them. So even when the thoughts might seem crazy, the space that you are, now that is pure presence, and it never goes anywhere. It can be hard to control the mind, and I indicate quotation marks because, well, who can control their mind? If only it were that easy. But we can direct it. One of the things we can do to direct it is engage in gratitude. It's a simple one. And if you're like me, it can be an embarrassing one to feel like you have to, that you're one of those goody two-shoes that doesn't acknowledge the negative and only focuses on the positive. There's almost an awkwardness to being grateful. But if we can get over that, it can be so beneficial. It's important to know that gratitude doesn't dismiss the negative. The negative is allowed to be here. Instead, we are just shifting even 0.1% of our attention towards something positive, anything. I'm still breathing. The floor is holding me up. My clothes are warm. I am loved. I am cared for. I am allowed to feel this way. These kinds of attitudes of gratitudes can go a long way for us. Naturally, our mind has a negativity bias. It's just easy to see the negative. It's not so different than putting a pair of tangled headphones in your pocket and pulling them out. They only seem to get more tangled, never less. Why is that? Well, there's just a lot more ways they can be they can be tangled, but only one way in which they can be untangled. Similarly, consider how in nature, fish, for example, in their environment, there's many negative stimuli and positive stimuli. Something negative could be a bigger fish ready to gulp it up. And a positive stimuli could be, some food to munch on. Now, if that fish misses but one negative stimuli, it'll be gobbled up. But if that same fish misses one positive stimuli, that's okay. There's plenty of, fish in the sea and other things to chew on. So it benefits us, at least the fish, to be a little biased towards observing the negative. But us, humans, we just project that negativity bias on almost everything, and that gets us into trouble. So it's only natural for it to require effort to shift our attention to the positive. But with consistent practice, like anything, it gets easier over time. By the way, however you're feeling, it will always pass. No thought can stay there forever, and even your body has physical limitations to stress. Stress chemicals such as cortisol or epinephrine, which can accelerate the heartbeat and make you feel on edge. These literally cannot stay in the bloodstream for long, nor can the neurotransmitters keep firing in this way for long. That will always pass. Let's move on to our intellect. This is the faculty which makes choices and discerns between what's real and what's unreal. I want to validate you in that whatever choices you have made in life, today, even right now, they're made with awareness of everything you've experienced. I hope you don't feel too guilty for feeling like this because of any actions you made. Sometimes things don't go our way, even when we put in our best effort, and that's okay, because it's our best effort that ultimately matters, not the outcome. In this moment, it might seem like nothing is real. I've been there. But, what is real is that you're here, experiencing something. This universe, life, it's not going anywhere. Even if it might feel like that, you're not gonna die. I remember being so scared that, reality might suddenly vanish. But it never does. There's always presence, that which you are. You are whole in this moment, including all of the contradictions and conflicts you feel inside you. And you don't have to make any decisions right now, especially any big ones. Yeah. The best decisions are made once you are feeling happy, and you will. Right now, it's okay to take a step back from choices, responsibilities. Right now, your responsibility is to yourself. And that's a beautiful thing, to take care of yourself. Now, let's move on to the ego as well. Our sense of self, it can feel unstable during times like these, and that's also totally normal. You don't have to figure out who you are, what you are, why you are, or even try to define how you are. You are, period. You are that you are, without any boundaries. Here's an idea. Sometimes we feel the pressure to enjoy the universe, that we are supposed to be happy. We are supposed to always be having fun, to getting the most out of life. And there's truth to that. However, let me tell you a story. It's a little embarrassing. A few months ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was feeling just not good physically, emotionally. So I imagined that the universe was giving me a massage, working on the knots in my shoulders and neck, down my back, squeezing down my arms. I could visualize it the way I wanted. And it wasn't working. And then I realized that I've got it the other way around. Maybe it's not that I'm meant to enjoy the universe. I'm meant to serve the universe. And you get the greatest joy out of that selflessness. So I tried switching it up. I imagined that the universe had a personal form, and I was massaging the feet of the universe, squishing each toe, just giving my love to the universe, massaging the sole, the feet, the heel, washing it, drying it with a cloth, applying moisturizer, and within minutes I was me 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 me. See, sometimes we have our role backwards, and when we engage in loving, then we feel that love rather than trying to look for a source of it and trying to receive love. We can still feel love, but by giving, even if it's mentally massaging the feet of the universe. I'm sure I'm pretty weird for doing that, but hey, it worked. Consider, for example, how cats, how divine little kittens are. They seem to know when we're upset, and they pop on our laps and they start vibrating. And of course, that means you love me, pet me, give me attention. And even if we're miserable, we go, okay, yeah, give you some pets. And then the weirdest thing happens. We start feeling better. How crazy is that? It's not like they're petting us. We're petting them. And yet we're somehow benefiting from it. So it goes to show that purposeful, selfless giving can actually help make ourselves feel better. And I love that. It's beautiful in a way. I hope you see that too. Now, lastly, the spirit, the soul, if you believe in that. I believe that the soul, spirit, it's just an old word for what we might call consciousness today or awareness. Just the essence of life that you are. There isn't really any definition that can pin it down. You just kind of, as we said, are. You are that you are. And whatever this is, it's beyond being confined by the world, by your body, by your senses, mind, intellect, or even your own ego. Even our own sense of self seems to limit our true self that is beyond boundaries. And knowing this to be such, it can help to alleviate these feelings of instability, frustration, or being lost, because what you truly are is beyond all these things. You always have been pure love and light. You are kind of invisible, unattached, formless source. Knowing this to be such, you ought not to grieve. Meditation can be a powerful thing, especially on this concept. Although it's easier said than done, since the last thing we want to do when we're feeling like this is total absorption in what we are. However, if you can, my goodness, beautiful things can happen. And if you ever need to replay this video, please be my guest or pause, skip forward, or look back on any part you want to replay. Go for it. And you're welcome to message me on different platforms. I'd be happy to give you some personal advice when I can get to my messages. I have a lot of them. I hope by now you're feeling even a little bit, even if it's 0.1% more peaceful, more blissful. That's a success. It's the process that matters. It's been a while since I've had anxiety, and I really took charge of my relationship with it and didn't want to fight with it anymore. I wanted to be a friend to all my feelings and have a kind of friendship inside of myself. So these are all the things that I've learned that have come my way in this endeavor of mine. And if any of it has been helpful to you, do leave a like and a comment below telling me what worked and how I could improve in connecting to you in this format. Maybe I can do another kind of video like this soon. Yeah, I think we've covered all of our bases, from the world, body, emotions, mind, intellect, ego, and spirit. Now that you are centered, the world's your oyster. Thank you for taking this time with me. And if you are feeling better, thank yourself. Truthfully, you put in the effort. All I did was guide you to places which you took yourself. So, congratulations. And really, once you calm yourself down like this once, you can do it a million times. Having that faith, trust, and surrender, humility, these tools build on top of themselves, and each time you learn something new. Thank you.